Hello, this is the Morning Gardening Show. I am back. I'm back. Talking about black magic. That's what I call black magic. I can't believe what it does. You take your normal way or the regular way that you germinate seeds, but you add something else to it. You take a black plastic bag, put the tray inside the plastic bag for 2 to 3 days. Guess what? Those seeds are going to germinate 3 times faster, 3 days sooner. They're going to germinate. And I'm using them on hot peppers. We know hot peppers tend to take anywhere on average of 10 to 20 days to germinate. That's just hot peppers. So now with black magic, that's what I'm using. That's what I call it, because it acts just like magic. I put it over the tray, twist tied, closed, and inside that tray, the tray is sitting on a heat mat, which normally I do that anyway. But I used to just put a cover over it. With that clear cover, no. You can still put that on there, but slide it inside of a black plastic bag. When you slide it inside of darkness, where from the darkness comes the light, and from that darkness, the seeds come. So you put it in there, regular seeds like these here. And when you put it in there, days later, depending on the variety of seed, you're going to see them already start to come out and do their thing. And mine are already enrolling. Right now, I just went down there. I put those Swiss chard seeds in probably about maybe 2 days ago, and they're out of the soil now. And I used to have the most difficult time germinating Swiss chard. I used to have a difficult time germinating most seeds, but now that I'm using this method, and I got it from someone online, but I like it, and I'm going to continue to use it because what it does, it keeps the seeds warmer, and it keeps the seeds moist, and it keeps the seeds in complete or mostly dark. And the darkness is when the seed starts to act up and it does its thing. I have seeds that were not out of the soil last night. I checked them last night. I come back to today after going out and shopping everything, say about 11:30. I checked the seeds and they're already out of the soil. And I said, look at this. This doesn't make any sense at all. This is great. And I'm going to use it with all my seeds, actually. But I can't believe all these years that I didn't know. And I've learned, that's what the whole process of gardening is basically you learn. But I see that growing a seed in darkness has an advantage. And I know because I've tried clear plastic, the little hood that goes on top, and you put them on top and they do okay, but they don't do great like if you were to, I'm telling you, I'm a happy camper because all of my plants, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these plants. They're germinating in 2 to 3 days. The difficult ones that usually take anywhere from 10 to 20 days are germinating in 5, 6 days. And I'm looking at this going, this is crazy. All I try and then come back to me and talk to me. It's crazy. But I was so excited this year. I said, I'm going to try. And remember, I did it when it was cold. And here right now today, we got a temperature, I think we're hitting them about 50 degrees. So that does have an effect. Yeah, I'm dead on, 50 degrees. So, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, all this background is going to be changed because I had a good friend tell me, she said, you do a good job, but you see, you could put some more interesting things in the background to see. So I said, okay, I'll give that a try. But what I'm going to do is get back on the subject here of this black plastic. It's just incredible. Now, I am using a heavy gauge trash bag. If that has any effect, I don't know. But I do know that putting it in a black bag and twist tie it like you do a loaf of bread, you just grab it and twist tie it and keep it on a heat mat. And if you have a thermostat controlled heat mat, it's even better, because don't trust me, folks, when I tell you this, I used to do it for years, so I know those mats get hot, and they can even kill seeds. Those mats get hot. They get up to 110 degrees. Those mats, because I have a heat gun and I can check, and I've checked some without the thermostat that controls the temperature. I've checked them; they were 110 degrees, and some seeds, if you look at spinach and Swiss chard, they only require to be 70 and 75 degrees. And you imagine putting them on something that's 110. Now, peppers, hot and what we call it, hot and sweet peppers, they require around 80 to 85 degrees, and they'll just start jumping out of the ground. But when you put them in that black plastic, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I thought I'll be able to use both heat mats this year. It looks like I'm going to get by with just one, because they're germinating so fast, I don't have to stack them on the second one. I really don't have to, even though I can have two black plastics going. And in fact, I may do that, because what's happening here is I'm thinking of when it comes time to do the cucumbers and watermelon and the cantaloupe, they're going to be put 4 weeks before the frost, the last frost. 4 weeks before the last frost. And when I do that, they're going to allow me to do it quicker and better. I saw your video. I can't wait to try. Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's say hello and new sub here. And okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. And somebody gave me 2 thumbs up because they like the way what I'm talking about. I'm trying to give you something that will make it so that you will get all of your seeds and all of your plants off and running. And then, and now I am growing everything in bulk. I wish I would have did what I was thinking of doing. I was going to bring the spinach seeds up here and show them to you. They have not been in that black plastic bag very long. I remember putting them in, and 3 days later, they were out of the ground. They were already up. And I said, wait a minute. I've never done anything like this fast before. I've never done anything like this fast before. What is going on here? I said, I like this. I like this. I said, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to use it. Smart man. I'm going to continue to use it because it makes sense. And it works. So Black Magic, you call it a black plastic bag or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it Black Magic because it absolutely makes seeds jump out of the ground because they're in the dark. Like when they're naturally in the ground, they're in the dark. But when you put them in that warm plastic bag and you put them in there, your only thing is going to be, what am I going to do with all these seedlings? Because they pop it out like popcorn, and I don't know where to put all these at. Thought I had more time. So they actually buy you more time. And I got to tell you, you got to try it. You absolutely have to try it. Black Magic, black plastic, whatever you want to call it, it works. And I'll start seeing these on YouTube, and I'll know for a fact I had something to do with it, because if you look all through YouTube, you don't see nobody doing it except, wait a minute, it's one guy. It's one guy. And I spend hours on this YouTube a day, hours. And I check anything and everything that most people have about their videos. And I look and it's amazing because I see people plant, and that's people think that all you do when you plant, just dig a hole and put the plant in there. But there's actually more to it than that. If you want to, but you want to keep it simple. Now, most people dig a hole this big and they'll put their pepper plant in there. They'll put the fertilizer in there, and they're all set. I'll dig a hole this big. And when I dig a hole that big, I'll put one plant in there, one plant, and I'll put my my compost in there, or if it's cow manure, or if it's rabbit manure, or if it's horse manure, whatever or manure I want to use, I put it in there, and I want the plant to grow. I'm telling you that you always want to make certain that you're growing a large root system, and that will give you more peppers. It'll give you more corn. It'll give you more okra. It'll give you more because you actually you want to be able to let those roots grow. Don't cheat yourself by not making certain that your whole function when you put that plant in the ground is to grow a huge root system. That's your job. What's on top is one thing, but when you dig a hole that's proper for that plant, I changed that old saying up. They say a $10 hole for a 50-cent plant or something like that. Nope, a $30 hole for a 50-cent plant, but a $30 hole. Make that hole big enough so that them roots can move and they're not trapped by that clay soil. So, hello, how you doing there? A backyard gardener. Yes, it's been a long time. But it's good to see you in the room. It's good to see you're doing good because you're in here. You know, you have some time and some of us time to do stuff today. I'm looking at a beautiful garden this year. I see it in my mind. And I have people who have asked me for part of my garden. I think what I'm going to do, certain people, I'm going to really cut them a break because, anyone that is interested in sharing would do that. And so that's why I want to do that. But it's a lot of hard work, and God knows it's a lot of hard work. I'm just thinking of, I'm right now, it's good, but when the sun comes up and it's 90 degrees and 100 degrees out, then you have things to do. The best time to water is early in the morning, late in the evening, but early in the morning is definitely a must. And a very important thing you can do when you water is sometimes let those plants go a little limp. Let them go limp, because if you let that plant go limp a little bit and then you water it, oh my God, she'll stand up and appreciate that water. But if you water them all the time and water them real shallow, that's not a good deal. That's not a good deal. You want those plants watered deep when you do water, and you want to make certain that that plant get a little limp, and then you go ahead and go out there with that water. But don't keep watering it every day, constantly, because it doesn't rain like that. Nature don't do that unless this is one of the rainy months or something. But will you be watering every day? And no, just wait till that plant get limp. Get a little limp, get like that a little bit, and then you say, give it water, and it'll stand right back up. That's when you want to be watering it, and you're going to get more produce from it when you do that. Because when you threaten the plant's lifeline, the fact that it's alive, you're going to get that plant to respond, and the plant going to respond in turn by producing offspring. Its whole purpose of a plant is to reproduce. Think about that for a second. It's not for you to look at the flowers. It's to reproduce more of its own kind. That's what it's designed to do. So don't ever get it twisted. Plants' whole job is to come back. And when it's sitting there in the ground and it cannot get water, you let it limp a little bit, and then you bring it back. It says, it programs the plant. It programs it. to produce, because that's his job. And some people say, well, it's a little cruel to do them like that. Well, it's not necessarily cruel. Plants, keep a little reserve, and you just keep an eye on them when you're doing this. And when the plant gets a little limp, you say, okay, now it's time to water. But you don't let it get limp and then just wait days before you get out there. No. This technique requires for you to get right on it. Let's see. That's amazing. Okay. Wow. There's people coming in the room there. In Alabama. Okay. Oh, wow, that's Alabama. I've heard a lot about that. That's pretty good. Cool. What you say? Cool. What's cool? I'm just a little lost on that. Let's see. Getting rain on the heavy. Getting rained on heavy. Wow. Okay, I understand that. Good morning. Okay, somebody said good morning, Marla, Edwards. All right, you're coming in the room. People coming in the room now. I think my show is getting more popular now because people are looking at what I do, and it's that I teach you how to save money in the garden. I also teach you some of the things that I know after 21 years of gardening, 20 or 21 years. I try to get people to understand that, these are living forms of life, and they need the soil to be right when you try to grow this stuff. And that most of us, they feel a little bad because we got clay soil. But the truth of the matter is most of us have clay soil. And that being said, you can do things to prep clay soil. And that 90% of your plants that you put in the ground, let's not get it messed up, because a lot of people say, well, I'm organic. Your plants are they've been tampered with by man. That's why they look like they do. They made corn bigger and sweeter. They've made tomatoes bigger and sweeter. They've made broccoli bigger, a plant than what it naturally when it came on the planet. And so man has altered, 90% of the stuff that you put in the ground. Man has already altered it through either thousands of years of him tampering with it, or a few hundred years. But that's what's going on. And so these plants are not as strong as weeds are. Weeds grow. If you want to test the theory, pull a weed from the ground one day and look at its roots and see how woody they are, see how tough they are. Then you take one of your plants and look at it. And a lot of them are soft and gentle type of root system. Well, they've been tampered with. Because you have to pretty much kind of baby what man created to get it to grow. And I know, I've been doing it for 20 years. So it means that if you take a tiger and a lion and cross and you get a liger, I think that's what they cross on that. Don't hold me to that. But when they mix the two together and they get this huge animal that's 750 pounds, but you can't turn it loose in a wild because it's too big to supply itself with food. You can't do it. So it would die in turn. So man tampers with these seeds, and the only way to grow them is that you have to grow them in the most fertilest soils. So that's why you're dumping all this fertilizer and making sure it eats every day and all of that. You let a weed not eat for a few days, it'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. A weed's not going to die. A weed is not going to die. But a plant you grow might actually die in a few days. That's why you constantly are adding leaves and organic fertilizer and all these things to your soil so that you can make certain that this weak plant, this mutt of a plant, will survive. All right, let's see now. I composted last year and used manure, and the soil mix is layered over last year. Oh, okay, that's a good stuff to do with the soil, is to add the compost and also the manures and all that. But imagine this, folks. If you actually could stimulate the biology in your soil, you wouldn't need manure. You wouldn't need any compost, because the only thing that's feeding your plant is the biology. The only thing that's feeding it. It delivers food to your plant. Your plant delivers to that particular organism. So, and when you put all this food on the top of soil, and the biology starts to eat and party and mate and hang out and everything, they live and they die there. They live and they die there. They excrete their waste and everything. And when all this is going on, your plant benefits from this. So that's the little truth of the whole matter. You have to make certain that your soil is absolutely stimulated to the highest of the highest, and that will make your plants grow a lot better. So it's not a mystery to it. It's been going on for millions of years. Plants have been doing this. Man-made plants are what they are, man-made, and they, as I said earlier, not as strong. Let's see. So we got okay, I've read that. Hello, Boone Garden chat. And so I'm just having a good time, because I've saved a ton of money. I spent some money this year now. Oh my God, because it's with some tools I wanted to get, like the temperature sensing gun. Wanted that. The device that controls the temperature of my heat mats. I wanted that, because I got tired of not knowing how hot is this mat, or excuse me, how hot is the medium that is that my seedlings are in. And so when I got them, where I want them, and I could heat them up to 8 if I'm doing peppers, and if I'm doing Swiss chard, I could drop it down to 70 or 75, preferably 75. And I could definitely have more success, because I bought seeds that were online on eBay. And I'm not recommending you go on eBay, because you don't know who's selling your seeds on eBay. But if you get a qualified buyer, a seller, and you look at how long they've been doing it and what are their ratings, and when you do that, you get an idea of who they are. If they've been on there 5 to 6 years or whatever, you might where did you buy your temperature sensing gun? On eBay, and I paid $10 for it. And it was a green, and if you see it, it's a green and black one. Cheaply made. It's not one of those high techs that got all the gadgets on it. It just does one thing: read the temperature. That's what it does. And so that's what I wanted. And I put my batteries in there, and I hit it and go speed. And when you do that, it reads back, and that signal bounces back to it, and you got the thing together that you want. So that being said, I also got the heat mat thermostat controller, whatever. Got that on there, $10. And both of them look like a set, because they're the same color, but different companies made them. And so I had that stuff sent through the seller, and haven't looked back. I'm not paying $80 for a temperature gun. I'm not paying one, unless I am doing what the coronavirus. I'm trying to check all that stuff, and I'm working at an airport, and I need this kind of equipment. Yeah, I might want to invest in something that's a little bit more, features on it, whatever. But I don't need all that. All I need is a gun that reads the temperature. So, and then I get the chance with the gun to go out into the garden. I used to be puzzled about what is the soil temperature there. Can I actually put these watermelon seeds in the ground? Now I can actually hit that ground and see if it's 30 degrees, 40 degrees, or 50 degrees, or 70 degrees. But once that soil temperature gets around 70 degrees, I can put those watermelons in there. And that's how that works. I'm not guessing about it anymore. I used to guess. I used to put my elbow on the soil and say, that's kind of cool or that's kind of warm or I don't know. But now I can just beep and go at 65 degrees. I'm gonna wait a few more days until it gets up to 70. And I can do that now. And that's how it works, folks. You want to make absolutely certain that you take every advantage you can. And if technology offers you that, by God, do it. Cardboard for weed control around gardens. Yes or no? Yeah, you can use it. You can use the cardboard. If you have access to that cardboard, use it. If you're going to hold, now keep in mind, you're talking to a man here that uses his weeds. I use weeds for mulching my plants. People say, well, how the hell are you going to use weeds to mulch your plants? It's easy. Oh, you're welcome anytime. How are you going to use weeds to mulch your plants? Simple. Pull them from the ground, lay them down, and put them down around your plant. And when you get a nice little a circle around your plant, guess what they'll do? They will stop weeds from coming through. They will feed your plant. They will keep the soil moist. They will also feed your plants when they start to decay. That's called using the weeds, and that's what I do. Another thing I do, I purchased a lawnmower. Just an opportunity to show off a lawnmower because I really like this lawnmower, and I really got a good solid deal on it. And I'm gonna show you. I'm a hardworking person, and I try to do the best I can to hold on to my ducats. But some people say, "Oh, Napoleon." Now, here's what we got. That's my new toy. I like it because it has the bag option, and that bag lets me use the grass clippings for mulch and fertilizer. So dry them or first. Dry them out first. No. See, don't make no work for yourself. Anything you pull from the ground, you'll put it out there in that hot sun, and it'll dry up on its own. It's not going to hurt anything. Besides the moisture in it, it's not going to do anything but help your plant. The moisture. Don't get rid of the moisture. Just pull up, lay down. Pull up, lay down. And you back them away from your plant that you want about 3 or 4 inches from your plant. And the weeds are not going to do nothing but help your garden grow. Nature's been doing it for millions of years. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Thank you. And he wrote here, great knowledge. And I appreciate that. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. There's nothing mystery about it. I'm just a guy who made all the mistakes when I started gardening. I made all of them. I made them all. I remember one year, and a real quick story. You want me to tell a story? Want me to hold it for later? Okay, no one said anything. So anyway, I tell a story. I put leaves all over my garden. And it's a great idea. Heard about it on the internet. And I said, okay, let me try it. And then I made a mistake. Oh, thank you. And I tilled them in. About 1.5 foot of leaves. Tilled them all in. And there were so many leaves that they wouldn't all go in the ground, but it was no big deal. They would rot down. I said, okay, got something here. They were dried and tilled them in. Went up to a garden center, and he said, you use the leaves? And I said, yeah, I tilled them in. And then he said, you tilled them in? And now this person happened to know a little something. He said, no, you didn't want to do that. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, when you till them in, they're going to rob your soil from nitrogen. And I'm thinking, what is nitrogen? I mean, what do you mean? And I'm listening. And he says, nitrogen is, the soil's going to use the nitrogen to break down the leaves. So it's going to be a deficit there. So you might not want to really garden this year and wait till next year. Now, he gave me bad advice about not gardening, but he gave me the right advice that it's going to rob the nitrogen. And so I could have added some blood meal to the soil to compensate, but he didn't know, and I didn't know. But nowadays I would know. I would say, okay, I'm going to have to compensate here. But the thing about it is the soil got better next year because of all the leaves I tilled in. And if I was thinking on my feet that time when I was a younger gardener now, I would have said, okay, I can't use the ground this year, but I can get some buckets and I can grow in containers and I can grow in these 3-gallon and 5-gallon buckets. I can still have a garden this year, but I went that year and you just saw me, tears all down my face, tears of a clown. I messed up, and it was a big garden that I did like that, tilled all these leaves in, and I thought I had to use my tiller. I had a habit of that. And I bought this tiller, all shiny Craftsman, and I'm going to use a tiller. The best thing I ever did in gardening was sell that son of a gun. And I put it on eBay. Not eBay, Craigslist. It lasted 1 day. Somebody grabbed it up because it was right in the beginning of the garden season one year. And I looked at it and I said, I'm going to get rid of this thing. I hosed it down, cleaned it up. And the oil in it was fresh and everything. It started on one pool. And I said, I'm going to give somebody a break when I do sell it. I put a price up there that was real cheap, and they just hit it. And after one person hit it, I'll be there in the morning to get it. Other people were hitting. Boom, 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 boom. And and I was like, God darn. And I said, what am I going to do? All these people going after it because it's a Craftsman and it's a front tiller. And, so that's why I was with it. Long story short, I felt a relief when that thing left, and I started growing more food when it left. My soil started improving. The soil got coal black. The worms returned to the soil, and I was in good shape. And I was smartening up because I started getting leaves, and these leaves were on the a very important part of gardening. Folks, stop. If you are, I don't want to accuse anyone of anything. Stop throwing those leaves away. They are black gold. Capital B, black gold. And you don't want to throw them away every year. You're wasting money when you do that. The leaves are filled with all kinds of beneficial properties. And it comes from the roots of the tree, who drag up all these nutrients and minerals up through the trunk, out to the branches and into the leaves, and then it drops them to the ground, and it does this cycle over and over again. And when you get those leaves, you actually benefit your garden. You're enriching your soil, is what you're doing. So what I do with the leaves now is I just lay them on top of the soil and I just leave them. I am not killing myself out there. Why I want to pile them up in a compost pile? For what? Spread them out over the ground about a foot deep. Spread them out. Leave them there. They're not going to blow away. They're going to stay there all winter. And then when they get wet, they're definitely going to back down. You're going to have big, fat worms everywhere in that soil. My soil have changed so much that this year past, I'm out there working in the garden, and I look down through my weeds, and there's worms crawling on the soil. Not in the ground, just crawling on the soil, on the top of the soil, because they had no more room down in the soil because there were too many worms down there. And they were on top of the surface. I'm grabbing all these worms off the top. So you go look at the video. I got the video. It's on here. And they were just crawling around. And on top of the soil, like right now, if you look at my soil right now, there's all this litter on top of my soil from all the leaves and the weeds that I pulled up and just pull them up and drop them, pull them up, drop them, and left them there. And all winter long, they didn't do nothing but get wet. They rotted. They created a tea, and this tea poured down through my soil all winter long. So I can't help but grow stuff when I grow. And I go out there and people see me out there breaking down the leaves. And sometimes if I get real smart, I get my weed trimmer out. Then I start having some real fun. And I go out there and zap all these weeds down, and they just hit the ground and they leave their stump in the ground. And they either going to try to grow back, which that doesn't hurt me, that helps me. Or if it dies, it leaves a hole in the ground where the roots once were. Because when the biology starts eating the roots up, it leaves channels all through the ground where those roots once were. And then when spring comes in, my worms, when it rains, they start coming up to the surface and mating all over the place. They're mating. And I'm looking at these worms saying, I can't believe people, some of them, because they don't know. They buy worms and try to add them to the soil. They buy this stuff called micro biology. They try to sprinkle powders on the ground and all that kind of stuff. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, if the biology that's supposed to be there isn't, what makes you think that the store-bought biology is going to stay there? There's something wrong with your soil. If you fix your soil, then the worms will come. They're always going to go to wherever they can get a meal. They're like a fat family member laying on your couch. If you feed them, they will not go anywhere. And the same thing goes for some kids. You know, I'm talking about some kids. If you feed them and put a video game in their hand and they don't have to go nowhere to work or to help around the house, the kid will stay there and will definitely put a dent in your couch. So that's all I got to say on that. So you want the worms to stay there. So you feed them what they eat, and that's leaf matter, plant matter. Oh, God, I hate when these telemarketers call. Don't you hate when telemarketers call you? And they want me to answer this. And there's no way I'm going to answer this. Okay, I got to answer. No, let me stop. I don't answer telemarketer calls. If I don't recognize that number, I don't pick it up. Okay, that's gone. Unless they're going to leave a message, which will be, hello, how you doing? Look, I want to sell you something. I'm getting quite a few people want to advertise on my channel now because I've started getting more subscribers. And a lot of you have been subscribing to my channel. I appreciate that, because what it allows you to do is that when I do the show, you'll get that reminder. Boop, it'll pop up. And you'll see the reminder, and it tells you, hey, he's got a show on at 10 a.m. on Thursdays. 10 a.m. on Thursdays, I got a show. And that's how I try to do it. Now, today I ran a short show, but I still ran the show because I like to keep my word. I like to say, if I'm going to tell you that that I'm going to do a show, I'm going to do a show. And that's how I do it. Curious about it. Because I actually like talking on here and giving out information. Because I want to be that person, like people have hit me back at different times and said, I want to thank you. Because of you, I'm inspired to, and I started my first garden last year or this year, and I learned some things from your channel. Because if you get out there floating around, I'm gonna tell you something. And this really gets on my nerves. This really gets on my nerves. When people get on the air and they show you their big, beautiful garden, and once they show you the big, beautiful garden, and they show you all the plants, and they say, we got all this, and we're canning and we're jarring, and they don't tell you nothing on how to do it. They don't tell you how to do it. They're not going to tell you how to do it. Then they try to say, I got a link down there, and you could, and I got a book that you can get. And I got some ebooks and all that stuff you can get online. And if you just pay me this amount of money. And I'm thinking, what? Why would I pay you when all I got to do is learn what you're doing, and I can do the same thing? I don't have to pay you. I know everybody got to make a living. I understand that, but come on. So that's how that works, folks. So here I am out here giving it away free, because but I have a motive, and my motive is this: I want to see the videos you shoot. I want to see the big plants. Hey, it wouldn't hurt if some people mention my name, and some of them if they said, hey, the Morning Garden showed me how to do this, like Food Forest Permaculture did a video, and all I said to him was, well, I said to everyone online that day, that I like videos where they show their soil. Point the camera at the soil, dig a couple of holes, or look at it, or say, hey, this is my soil, and this is what it looks like. You know, and if they need any advice, I can actually look at the soil and pretty much get an idea what I'm looking at. Because like I said earlier, a lot of us have a lot of clay soil, and clay soil is great as far as nutrients and all that stuff, but it just doesn't have a lot of room. It doesn't have a lot of room for air, oxygen. It doesn't have a lot of room for also to allow roots to run outward. So you have to amend this soil a little bit, you know, do some things to it to loosen it up, get some air in there. I told everyone about using that manure fork with the long handle. I said, please use the manure fork, poke in, lift, poke in, lift, poke in, lift. It will open the soil up. It's another method of getting air in that soil. I've been using that for the last, I want to say probably about 7 years. I've been using manure fork. Actually, my fork is wearing out. And someone told me, they said, well, you're going to need another fork. I said, but I don't got used to this one. And they said, yeah, but you paid $8 for it 7 years ago. Now you need another one. And I said, yeah, but I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to. There's nothing wrong with the lower part. It's just the handle is starting to break. And this year is going to be challenging whether or not it will actually do the job this year because the handle is failing. But I would like to run another handle through there, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm going to look at some videos and try to figure out how to do this. So on that note, folks, we're going to go close it out because this has been a Morning Gardener talking to you until you are blue in the face because you have said, oh, God, make them stop. But thank you very much for tuning in. And I've been your host on the Morning Gardener Show, and I'll continue to bring gardening information to you. And if you need anything or need any questions answered, you can always leave a message. And remember, leave some comments on some of the videos. I appreciate it. I will get back to you. It's been crazy, but I will get back to you. Thank you very much. This has been the Morning Gardener Show. Remember, keep on growing. Thank you.